I absolutely love this quote because it just cuts right through all the noise and the hype. See, artificial intelligence, it isn't some sci-fi robot hiding in the closet. It's the math, it's the logic that's already running on the very device you're probably watching this on. It's here. It's a fundamental part of our lives, right now.
So that's what we're here to do. We're going to demystify AI. We're going to break down exactly what it is, how it actually works, and why it suddenly feels like it is absolutely everywhere.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll look at how you're already using AI every single day. Then, we'll get into what it actually is. After that, we'll peek under the hood at how it learns, check out who's using it, and wrap it all up with why this matters so much, especially right now.
Okay, first things first, let's bring this whole conversation down to earth. Because the truth is, most of us have already interacted with multiple AI systems before we've even had our first cup of coffee.
I mean, think about it for a second. Unlocking your phone with your face, yep, that's AI. Asking your Maps app for the fastest route to work, the one that magically avoids all that traffic, that's AI again. Or how about your email just knowing what's junk? Or your streaming service suggesting the perfect movie for tonight? This is all a kind of invisible AI, just quietly doing its thing in the background.
So now that we know where to find it, what are we really talking about here? Well, the core idea has actually been around for a lot longer than you might think. At its heart, this is the classic definition. This isn't about creating a conscious thinking machine like in the movies. No, it's about teaching computers to do specific tasks that usually need a human brain. Things like recognizing what's in an image, understanding what you're saying, or, and this is the big one, making predictions.
And just look at this timeline. It's wild. The actual term artificial intelligence was coined way back in 1956. For decades, it was mostly stuck in university labs. It even went through these long, slow periods called the AI winters. Then, bam, late 2022, ChatGPT gets released to the public. And it felt like almost overnight, AI went from this abstract academic thing to a tool that was suddenly in everyone's hands. That's why it feels like it just appeared out of nowhere.
So how in the world does a machine actually learn to do all this stuff? Well, the single most important thing to get is that it's all about recognizing patterns on a massive scale. It's not about gaining knowledge the way you and I do. It's basically a three-step dance. First, you feed the system an unbelievable amount of data. We're talking text, images, code, the whole internet, basically. From all of that data, the system builds this incredibly complex prediction engine, what we call a large language model. So when you ask it something, it's not thinking of an answer. It's just using probability to predict the most likely next word, and then the next word, and the next, stringing them all together to build a sentence.
And this is so important to understand. An AI model isn't searching Google in real time. It doesn't know if what it's telling you is true. It only knows the patterns it saw in the data it was trained on. And that data, it could be old, outdated, or sometimes just plain wrong.
And right here, this is the key thing to be aware of. An AI can write something that sounds incredibly confident, totally authoritative. But remember, it's still just a prediction machine. It's just guessing what should come next based on patterns. There's no built-in fact checker, which is exactly why our human oversight is absolutely essential.
It's also worth knowing that not all AI is built the same way. You've got open source, which is kind of like a public recipe book. Anyone can see the code, use it, even change it. This leads to super fast innovation. Then you have closed source, which is more like a secret family recipe. The company owns it, controls it completely. This can allow for tighter safety controls, but we don't really get to see what's going on inside. Both of these approaches are shaping where this technology goes next.
So we've got these different models out there, open and closed, but who's actually using them? Well, as we've seen, it goes way beyond just asking a chatbot to write a funny poem for you. This is that invisible AI we were talking about before. It's the engine that's powering how your search results get ranked. It's the fraud detection that keeps your credit card safe. It's the voice assistant on your phone that sets a timer. These systems are woven so deeply into our digital lives, we honestly don't even notice they're there most of the time. But when we look at the more visible kind of AI, the generative AI like ChatGPT, we start to see this really fascinating trend. Pew Research found that while about a third of all US adults have given it a try, that number skyrockets to nearly 60% for adults under 30. I mean, that's a huge generational divide in who's jumping on board with these new tools. And if you look even younger, it's even more dramatic. A full 70% of teenagers are already using generative AI. For them, this stuff isn't some novelty. It's a fundamental tool they're using for homework and for creative projects. It's becoming as normal to them as a search engine or a calculator was for us.
Okay, so what does all of this actually mean for the future? Why is this conversation so incredibly urgent? Well, because this technology is already starting to reshape the skills we need and the very nature of how we work. Get this. According to the World Economic Forum, the core skills for nearly half of all workers are expected to change by 2027. And they're not just talking about needing more AI engineers. They're talking about people in every single field needing the analytical and creative skills to work with these new tools.
And this estimate from McKinsey really puts it in perspective. By 2030, nearly a third of the hours we all currently work could be automated. Now, the key thing here is that this changes jobs. It doesn't just eliminate them. It automates tasks, which frees up us humans to focus on the things we're great at, like strategy, creativity, and working together.
So getting ready for this future, it isn't about learning to code one specific AI tool that's just going to be obsolete in a few years anyway. No, it's about building up our durable human skills. It's about understanding what AI is good at and what it's bad at. It's about thinking critically about what it spits out and just being ready to adapt as this technology keeps changing.
Which brings us right to the single most important takeaway from this whole thing. AI is an incredibly powerful tool. It can help us work faster, it can help us come up with new ideas, but it cannot and it does not replace human judgment. When you get right down to it, AI just magnifies human intent. It's a tool, and just like any tool, its impact depends entirely on the person holding it. The technology is here, that's a fact. The real question now is, what are we going to choose to build with it?